My name is Arthur Bonds. I'm a retired fire chief from the town of Salem, and I'd like to welcome you to Hose House 2, which was the fire company that staffed the town center area until about 1910, when it was combined with Fire Company 1 and moved to a new fire station at the Main Street location. Hose House 2 is the latest renovation project of the Salem Historical Society, and we're having an open house today in conjunction with Salem Fest to show the community the progress that's been made since the restoration began. What we're standing in now would have been the apparatus bay back when this was a fire station. What was stationed here at the time was a hand tub, which is a hand-operated fire pump. It was horse-drawn, and my understanding is the horse was supplied by Bill Brown at his market across the center. The grocery store delivery horse would come over and do his duty as a firefighting horse and pull the apparatus to the location of the fire. As you see, the main floor here has been restored. There are some display cases put in. As artifacts are being donated and cataloged, they're putting out for display. It's a little bit premature to have them on display yet, but as I said earlier, we're trying to show the community the condition of the station at this point in its restoration. As you see here on the display board, there are some old photographs back in the day when the station was in operation. Here's the horse-drawn tub that I talked about, what it looked like in 1910. These are various photographs of the restoration process. And over here is an explanation of what they're hoping it'll be when it's done, where these display cases will be filled with both firefighter and police artifacts explaining the history of the town. Now, the reason the police would be involved here is because for a period of time, the police jail cells were in fact in the basement of this building. In 1905, the Insurance Underwriters Organization told the town that they would see significant savings of their insurance policies if they had a municipal fire department. So in 1905, the Salem Fire Department came into existence, and they took over responsibility for both this company and the company down the depot. So back in the day, being a member of the fire company was as much social as it was business orientated. So most call departments had some type of hall associated where they could have their association meetings and other type meetings. This is the second floor of the station, and that is this hall. After this was used as a station, for a period of time, different civic groups met here, scout organizations and so forth and so on. So to the best of the research that's been able to be done, the room has now been restored to as close as they believe it was at the time when it was actually a fire station. There were no, it wasn't a firehouse where people slept in. They were simply volunteers on call. When the fire bell rang, they came. So there was no accommodation for sleeping. So you'll see no pole for people to slide down and so forth and so on. Sleeping in a firehouse really didn't become necessary until the advent of steam fire engines. You had to maintain a fire in a stove in the station so that in the event there was a fire alarm, the burning coal could be transferred to the steam pumper. Steam pumper would only work when there was sufficient heat being generated to boil water. So it was necessary to maintain a fire in a coal stove in the station all the time so that that fire could be transferred immediately to the steam pumper. So by the time you arrived on the scene, it would be able to pump water. And back in the day, the people that stoked the fire on railroad trains were referred to as firemen, and that term slid over and was used in the fire department. I know a lot of people think of firemen as people that fought fires. Well, some of them did, but firemen were initially the people that maintained the fire in the steam pumper, as well as people who maintained the fire in steam fire engines and the people who maintained the fire in steam-powered ships. Use was continued here sometime in the 19-teens, 1910 to 1915. And the apparatus and the personnel moved to the fire station on Main Street at the corner of Millville Street.
Okay.
Salem historically went from horse-drawn, hand-operated to motorized. They went motorized in 1920.
Okay.
Well, this is the basement of the building, and for a period of time it housed the town's jail cells. If you look over here on the floor, you can still make out the location of the cells by the angle irons that are on the floor. There were 4 cells down here, and this portion of the building, the renovations have only just begun down here.
Right.
So that's why this building, when it's finished, will house memorabilia and artifacts for both the fire and the police department. Because
Do you have a role here for the Historic Society, or do you just visit?
well, I started working for the Historic Society when they took on the job of renovating the train station up at the depot.
Yeah.
My hobby is model railroading.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So when they talked about renovating the old train station, it pulled on some chords with respect to myself.
Right.
So I came down and started volunteering to work the Texas Hold'em games for them over at the racetrack, which has been a major source of the funding for both the restoration of the train station and now the hose house too. And after the train station was finished and they announced they were going to continue work on hose house 2, there was sort of a natural fit there too. So here I am.